Welcome back, gentlemen. Just set a new PB for my 5-mile run time and wanted to take a moment to record this video from a thought that came to me as I was kind of pressing into that last 1 to 2 miles during that run, and was definitely feeling, at my best as far as speed was concerned from the start. I think my nutrition was dialed in. The weather conditions were ideal for me personally. I really like when it's a little on the colder side. I just find that I can breathe better. It feels better warm as I warm up my body, etc. But I was pushing into that last 1 to 2 miles, and it definitely I started feeling it on my body. My knees started buckling a little bit, my shins a little bit, my ankles, my feet, and nothing serious, nothing that was really too straining, but I definitely felt the fatigue starting to kick in, and those thoughts start entering your mind about, maybe we should slow down the pace a little bit. Maybe today doesn't have to be the day that we set a new personal best. You're doing a bunch of other stuff already. You're doing the 75 Hard program. You've had a long week of work, maybe backing off and setting this record at a later date would be best. And as those thoughts are coming in, it's so important that you, in order to maintain momentum and to continue to strive for greatness in life, you have to nip those thoughts at the bud. The moment that those thoughts, those negative thoughts, or those progress hindering thoughts enter your mind, you have to, number one, get good at identifying the fact that you are having that internal monologue kicking in. That voice in your head that is not who you are is to be treated as, in some scenarios, an enemy to your progression in life. Okay? And it's not always the easiest to shut that voice down, to shut that voice off that's telling you, really just from a primal standpoint, to seek comfort, okay? It's very natural. It's a survival instinct for that matter. It's thinking to itself like, hey man, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of your survival has been predicated upon the human body's ability to find and secure safety for itself, to conserve what few valuable resources that are necessary for your survival, as opposed to always striving for more. And so one thing that I have found for myself that works tremendously well when it comes to battling off those thoughts is much like bad habits in life. When I have a bad habit that I want to get rid of from my life, I have had very little luck with simply just removing those things. I've had much better luck when I find something to supplement those activities with. So if I wanted, let's say for instance, with me doing the 75 Hard program, it's very easy for me to flip that switch. And even just talking about one of the singular activities that I've done, quitting drinking, right? Quitting drinking in and of itself can be a challenging thing for a lot of people, including myself at certain spans of my life. However, if I quit drinking and replace it with, let's say, weightlifting, or right now, like running, I have this new challenge, this new pursuit that I want to go after, and I'm able to replace that negative dopamine high or dopamine rush and goal-oriented climb, if you will, or process, with a positive activity that's going to give me that same dopamine source, but in a delayed format, okay? But it's going to be much more fulfilling long-term. So you have to treat these thoughts that come to you, these negative thoughts, or these thoughts that are telling you to seek out comfort, you have to treat them, in my opinion, the same way. I've had great success in doing this. So I find that replacing those thoughts with thoughts that remind you of who the fuck you are. So the moment that initial thought kicks in of like, man, it's this is a tough pace that you're holding right now, and we're putting in 5 miles today, and starting to feel tired, starting to feel fatigued, starting to get, aches and pains kicking in. You've put in a ton of work. You're working really hard. Like, I think it's okay if you back off a little bit. I immediately supplemented that thought with thinking back on the most immediate memory I could of running. It's important to me to correlate the activity in that thought that you're replacing it with the activity at hand that you're trying to conquer. So I immediately went back to the last difficult run scenario that I could remember in my memory where I felt like shit but did it anyway and ended up accomplishing what it is that I set out to accomplish. And it was last week, I believe it was Thursday or Friday, I had a 5-mile run. It was a hot day. I did not get a good night of sleep beforehand. I did not, dial in my nutrition properly as far as my post-run nutrition. And I didn't have enough water in my system. The list goes on. And I went out, and 3 miles in, and I had to almost slow to a crawl. And then 4 miles in, I had to walk for a little bit, but then I got back into the run. And then I had to walk for a little bit. I had to get back in the run. And I felt like shit about it the whole fucking time. I felt like a failure. But I didn't let myself quit. No matter what, I was going to reach that 5-mile benchmark, that goal, regardless of how I felt. And even if I did have to walk at certain points in times, I was going to be damned if I was going to walk out the rest of it. Whenever I felt able, I would kick in and start running again. And then if I had to, I'd stop and walk. And I'd start running again. And then I'd walk a little bit. And I basically just suffered it out. And I remembered back to that moment and that day and that feeling that I had after I finished, and thinking to myself, like, you are who you say you are. You do the things that you say you're going to do. And that was all I needed. That was all the fuel, motivation, purpose that I needed to set my personal best today. Was giving it my all on my worst day so that I could call upon the memory and the feeling that I had upon completing that worst day, regardless of how I felt. I was able to call upon that today. As soon as those negative narratives, those comfort-seeking narratives entered my brain, I nipped them at the bud and replaced them with that thought of the fact that I do what I say I'm going to do. And by mile 3 today, I was on pace for a personal best. And I knew that I could not only attain a personal best today, but I could probably beat my former personal best by a fairly large margin. I think it was about, again, this is a 5-mile run. I beat my prior 5-mile personal best by, I think, somewhere in the realm of like 5 to 6 minutes. I cut off. And I push myself, man. I really do. And I think that it's just so cool to me that I was able to, and just by mile 3, I knew I was on pace to do it, and I was going to do it. And as soon as I set my mind to that, I remained vigilant, both internally and externally. I remained present, and I focused in on my thought processes and the thoughts that were coming to me. And again, the second those negative thoughts hit, I knew what I was supposed to do. I have put this into practice for many, many years. And that is, I'm going to supplement it with reminding myself that I'm a bad motherfucker that does what he says he's going to do. And then I did it. So for any of you that are striving for goals, be it in a physical realm, an intellectual realm, a business realm, what have you, I think it's really important to take note of the work that you put in and the things that you accomplish on your worst days that you are proud of, and call upon those memories and those thoughts when you are on your best days looking to perform at a level that you have never performed at before. to raise the ceiling, to raise the bar in your life. That's all I have for you gentlemen today. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, I'm coming back at you with the, I saw some comments on my last video, like the outfit that makes me look like I'm about to rob a bank or something. But anyways, I really appreciate you all tuning into these videos, and I look forward to keeping them coming for you all. So stay honorable, gentlemen. God bless, and I will catch you all on the next video.